all of you. He's up beside me, tonight in the sky. To shine in the night, fall to the mountain, call to move. With His power within you, you know you're coming through. God is with you, He has given you the heart of the King. You can make it win. Cause He has given you the heart of the King. In your hand, ruler of the land, your praise, oh God, we stand. And all of you, oh, powers in your hand, ruler of the land, your praise, oh God, we stand. And all of you, God is greater than we. No matter what I'm going where I am mom, wife, and registered nurse. Also, I'm embarking upon my own businesses as a real estate agent with Keller Williams, Southern Nevada. Also hold a role as a notary signing agent and a credit referral agent. I go by live your life to the fullest and follow your dreams. Have a great time in the waiting room.
Hi, my name is Leslie Green, and I'm the founder and CEO of Golden Life Ventures, a lifestyle company. I'm also the author of God Doesn't Make Mistakes. This is a book about my spiritual journey during a very transformational season of my life, and I cover topics that all of us have had to deal with at some point in our lives, from forgiveness to spiritual warfare to purpose, and most importantly, waiting, how to wait. So if you want to learn more about me and my book, you can visit www.ourmistakeshisplans.com.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Is it morning? Why do I want to say good morning?
Because it's been a day for you.
It's been a week for me, and it's not even Friday yet. But you know what? I'm in the waiting room. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
In real life, y'all. This is not just you. Y'all think we on here just doing this for you, but we're doing this for us as well. I'm in the waiting room, waiting on my NEXT. And in the meantime, and in between time, I have had to assemble myself around people that can help me during the wait without condemning me, without making me feel obligated, without making me feel committed to things that I just simply, absolutely cannot commit to. And they do it without that spirit of manipulation. Sometimes when you're waiting and you're around people who have gotten through their wait, that's a good way for me to put it. They've gotten through their wait. So they may not be waiting on that big thing. They now may be waiting on the little things. So when people are no longer waiting on the big thing, they can sometimes minimize your wait. Or they can make your wait seem like, what is it? I mean, just be patient. Just give it a little bit of time. It's easy to give it a little bit of time when you've gotten through the longest hurdle of your life. But whenever you're in the middle of your mountain and you're in the middle of peaking up, it's hard to sometimes be like, oh no, it's just a wait. No, baby, it's not a wait. Because during that wait, during that journey, sometimes you lose money. Sometimes you lose momentum. Sometimes you feel like you're losing your mind. But we all have to understand that the preservation of the wait is not to destroy us, but to prepare us for our purpose. So I'm absolutely grateful that Dr. Craig, that we have decided to talk about the waiting room. And yes, some of us are waiting to say, I do, I don't, I won't ever again. And whatever it is, be okay in your weight and know that your weight is your weight. It's your journey, it's your right. And it does not have to look like everybody else's. If you didn't get anything else, it does not have to look like anybody else's. And do not let anybody make you feel bad if you wait with your bonnet on. Don't let somebody make you feel bad if you waiting booed up. However you're waiting, let it be your waiting and let it be your moment. So Dr. Craig, thank you again. I appreciate it. It has been amazing. This has been I would say for me, it has been one of the most awakening moments, meaning I have watched people truly become aware, not just that you're waiting, but sometimes you don't even realize that you're waiting. You're in a moment and you don't realize that you're waiting till somebody comes along. Now, if you're at a bus stop that's designated for a bus stop, you know that you're waiting. But sometimes you don't realize whenever you're not at a location that's named bus stop, you're not at a location that's named train station, airport, terminal. You don't realize sometimes in life we are waiting and no one comes along to remind us, honey, don't get upset right now. Don't get discouraged right now. You're waiting. You're not waiting because God does not want you to have it. You're waiting because he wants to make sure that when you get it, you sustain it and you have what's necessary to be successful with it. Because most of us, if we get it early, we're going to lose it as soon as we get it. That's why you can't let a broke person hit the lottery. They're going to be broke again. But I'm done, Dr. Craig. Let's back over at you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we thank you for opening us up and giving us that real life account of the waiting room. You know, when we started this about 6 weeks ago now, it was really interesting because many people thought it was all about marriage because of the graphic, which, you know, rightfully so. However, those that took that journey with us and went into those closed private sessions learned a lot more about what the waiting room is. And we're going to learn and hear from them tonight about their experience. So I'm so excited. And tonight, y'all, we have an extra co-host. Hello, his name is Marvin Craig. So he's joining us today. He didn't know I was going to do that, y'all. So I might get some side eyes here in a minute. But we're in the wait, and you're gonna see why he's sitting here with us tonight. Because in one of our closed waiting rooms, I shared that one of our waits for me was my husband's health. It's been a journey. So we're gonna weave some of that into this discussion as we talk about the waiting room from many perspectives. We also are so grateful for our partners. Let me tell you, show our partners, our partners. Apostle, what you got to say about our partners?
You know, what I will say is I was absolutely taken back at those who came along the journey. They didn't even have to be coerced. You know, we didn't have to sell it. That's what I want to say. They seen the vision and they wanted to be a part. And literally they're all over the United States. There's no one partner. There's no group that's all in one area. Literally, they're strategically placed around the United States. So I just believe that God is amazing. And I think that he's intentional. And the partners are the ones that made this happen in real life.
Absolutely. In real life. Thank you. Absolutely. So you'll see some of their videos throughout the evening because we want to give them as much gratitude as we can. We want you to support them. Look at what they offer. These are great small businesses and companies and entities that's doing business of the kingdom, providing services, providing literary works that can absolutely change the trajectory of our lives as we continue to shift our mindsets. And you're going to hear more about this as we went deeper into these different waiting room sessions as we move forward on tonight. I do want to talk about the Black Greek Letter Consortium really quickly. There's a pre-assessment that you've been seeing in the comments. Please take that pre-assessment. It's just a couple questions. You're going to hear us talk tonight a little bit about researching the conversation, a little bit about genetics, generational things, and how really everything is tied to our generations. And us as a people, you know, we really don't know who we are, where we came from, our DNA, those genetic things that just go with us. And we learn in some of these private sessions that our mental health, our traumas, our communication, the way we love on ourselves, a lot of that comes with genetics and, you know, who we are. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So please, please, please do that pre-assessment. So we're going to be moving on into talking about the waiting room closed sessions. But before we do that, we talked about our partners. So we're going to show you a couple of their videos here in a second. You're going to see one from Wiener Crumbly, Earl Bynum, and then Kathy. And then we're actually going to have Kathy join us to talk about her experience in the waiting room for the October 15th closed session. So here are a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I am Wiener Crumbly, and I inspire women to dream big, smile wide, and build their dream businesses. I'm an independent gospel artist and the owner of Hers by Wiener, also doing business as Hers to Inspire and Hers Smile Coaching. Hers is an acronym for having every reason to smile, where we pull from the power of God and we live our life on purpose and without fear. Visit our store at herstoinspire.com and drop your email over at hersbywayner.com and get on our email list.
Hello, I am Earl Bynum, CEO of El Rey Entertainment. LRAE is simply Earl spelled backwards. El Rey Entertainment is a company that's set up to give artists the opportunity to share their gifts through music, songwriting, even possibly book writing and the big screen. Who knows? But we are El Rey Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to Anew the Experience, the place where we approach health in a holistic manner: mind, body, soul, and spirit. If you have no idea of where to start, this is the place for you. I am here to help, here to educate, and here to motivate. I look forward to helping you. Welcome.
All right, Apostle. We're getting ready to go back into our first private session on October the 15th.
Okay.
Robinson and Tamara Love. Woo, woo.
That was a session where Dr. Kathy Robinson got me together. Yeah, that was that.
Okay, tell us a little bit about it, Apostle.
Well, we have this thing we've been doing called our wellness journey in our ministry, and she's my health coach, and she always thinks it's her responsibility to tell me how to eat. And I guess it is, since I signed up to let her be my health coach, as I invited her into my business. So she's not like faking on, some people think people be faking whenever you go to a live or something and people are commenting. No, she in real life, she's like, pie. So I actually am not, I have lost my desire to regularly drink Mountain Dew. I had recently, the man of God purchased a Mountain Dew and said, well, you don't have to be out of compliance with your Mountain Dew today, just drink it. And I literally drank it and had no desire. It's still sitting in the refrigerator because I didn't want to throw his drink away. But I had no desire to drink it. So I think I'm delivered. I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're delivered, and I'm excited to talk about this one. And first, I want to say welcome to everybody. We got some people out there that joined tonight. We can all mute it. We have Lysandra, Sylvia. They're all tuning in. Y'all let us know where you're coming in from. I see Lisa Dozier. So we have people here. We're glad you're here. And now we're going to move more into hearing about these stories. So Apostle just told us how Kathy gets on her about that diet and how she talked to us in that first session. She really brought some great information about health and wellness, like different things to eat, how to prepare different spices. But we also talked about that in, looking at self-awareness and self-love and digging into self. And I'll let her tell you more about whatever rung true for her, but she used that hand gesture. And I'm a visual person. So she talked about that looking in and looking at you. And that's one thing we talked about constantly throughout the private sessions in the waiting room, is that no matter what we're waiting on, we can't keep our eyes projected on that thing. We got to look at self and continue to work on self, knowing that these things will manifest, whatever that wait is for you. So we're so excited. And we have Tamara and Kathy tonight to share their experience in that particular session of the waiting room. So these are like testimony stories, their aha moments, what I guess the food for their soul, right, as we journey through. So first we'll let, I guess, Kathy, you can start, and then we'll just have Tamara to come in.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I am just grateful to have gone on this journey with everybody. And in regards to the first session, which was talking about physical care and health care and things like that, it is super important that we look at us. Sometimes we have placed in our head, in our minds, in our spirit, that we have to make sure that everybody else is taken care of, make sure everything else is done. But what we need to realize that is the biggest commodity and the most priceless commodity in your life is you. If you aren't taking care of you, you're no good for anybody else, and you won't be able to be and do what you were placed in this earth to do at the maximum level. My journey is daily. My journey is daily. As a health coach, of course, it is a passion of mine. It is a passion to want to make sure that everybody is able to live their holistic life, mind, body, spirit, and soul. Make sure that they can reach their health goals. Make sure they can reach all the things that make them who they are. This being that God placed in this earth. This spirit that is having this natural journey. But we have to take care of this natural temple while we are going through this natural journey. Are we supposed to be one-sided? Absolutely not. That's why it's mind, body, spirit, and soul. All of it is included. But if we don't take care of this temple, we will prematurely leave this earth. And it's truly my goal to be a conduit and to be an asset and an ambassador from the kingdom to make sure that we take care of this temple and all that goes along with it. Sometimes many of our health issues aren't necessarily health issues. They are undealt with mental or traumas that manifest as health issues. So it is important to know, okay, is this truly a health issue, or is this really unaddressed issues that is manifesting and causing damage to this temple? So daily, even as the health coach, I have to make sure that I am consistent. I have to make sure that I am disciplined. I am constantly repeating Ephesians 2:10, that what I am doing was planned long ago for me. Was planned long ago for me to do, and good things. This is what I was placed in this earth to do. So I have to constantly repeat that to myself, and just letting everyone know that you are not by yourself. We were never placed in this earth to be by ourselves, ever. And that includes even in when you decide to make a lifestyle change. If you get a bad report and you need to make, and you want to mitigate what is going on, and you want full healing, we have to partner with God, even in that full healing.
Yes, great. Thank you so much for sharing that and what you even picked up as you presented to us in the waiting room, right? And today is a special day for Kathy. So everybody tell Kathy happy birthday in the comments. Let those comments roll. Today is her birthday, and she joined us in the waiting room on her birthday. So we're so grateful for that. So as y'all tell her happy birthday in the comments, we're going to let Tamara share some of what she came out of the first session with from the waiting room. Hey, Tamara, welcome. Unmute yourself.
Sorry about that, everybody. Hi, thank you for having me. Oh man, the waiting room. It's been a major learning experience for me. What I've learned, especially in the first part of physical and stuff, is drawing closer to me and learning what my triggers and emotions are, and the mental health is very, very, very important. And like she was talking about the journey and understanding that it's a journey to get back to you. It's a journey to be to be healed again, and to trust the process while I'm in the wait. Because I wanted it to happen overnight. I didn't want to be overweight anymore. I didn't want to deal with mental health anymore. I didn't want to deal with a whole lot of things. And I just wanted to get from point A to Z without all the in between. During this time, I'm just grateful that I have been a part of this, because actually this season has been all about me, which I would never look at it like that. I would always, serve everyone, take care of everyone, the kids, everyone, serve. But in this season, I've been able to address me, change the way I eat. Nutrition has been really big for me, and know that it plays a big key in the physical. It plays a big key in our health, our mental health. And what I've learned in the weight is I found me. I found me again. I've learned to love me again. I can look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm beautiful. I no longer look in the mirror and say, oh, you're ugly or anything like that. So I'm just really grateful for the weight. I can go on and on and on. The things that I've learned to, just self-evaluate, self-check, lean onto God more. And like my scripture and that it's always been Jeremiah 29:11, for he knows the plans for me, and always Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. No matter what the storm looks like, no matter what the dark looks like, and why I'm in the midst of the wait is to don't lose sight of the vision that God has given me. And it's not just for me and my deliverance and my healing. It was going to help others when I come upon those and say, hey, you don't have to be stuck in that storm. You don't have to be stuck in that pain. A lot of reason why of being overweight and a lot of that stuff that I've gone through, it's been health issues, has been trauma and unforgiveness. And she spoke about why we stay sick, because unforgiveness can keep you sick. It will keep you bound. It will keep you and things to where, I've experienced in unforgiveness when you forgive, we already know that your forgiveness is to free yourself, but there's freedom that comes in that. It's not only for your freedom, it's for your children's freedom. It's for everyone else. And you don't want to be bound in that hurt. You don't want to be bound in that pain. And what I have found in the wait is wake up and walk. And that's what I've been doing. I've been wake up and walk. It's like, I gotta go. Don't be stuck. Don't be stuck where you're at. Do not be stuck in your sickness. Do not be stuck in your trauma. Reach out. You're not alone. Oh my God, you're not alone. I'm so thankful for running into Apostle. Apostle, she knows I can go on and on and on. So I don't really know how much time I have, but
your time.
I can keep going.
No, we're going to move on because we're having a conversation. But we thank you for giving comments to Apostle, because we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're sharing even what you've learned in the wait. Like, think about what Tamara just shared. Apostle, you can definitely come in. Think about what Tamara just shared about what she's learned about the wait. Much about herself, much about how to move with forgiveness, what that forgiveness gives her. That wake up. She said something that stung true to me. She said, "Wake up and walk." That hit. That right there hit real good. So, Apostle, it's on you, and then we'll move to the next session.
So yeah, we moved through and navigated through, and I bless you, Tamara. Wake up and walk. That should be a new mantra for some of us, all of us, because think about the walking. The walking is not only for you to walk out of your situation. Most of us don't realize that your blessing is on the way. I got this from a pastor major several years ago. He was like, your blessing is on the way. And I said, on your way? He said, yes, your blessing is not coming to your house. It's on your way. As you're being obedient to what God said for you to do, you're going to run into your blessing, or your blessing is around the corner. The moment that you turn from something that you know is opposing what God has for your life, that's when you're going to see your blessing. So wake up and walk if we wake up and walk, we put oxygen in our lungs, we increase our longevity. A body in motion stays in motion. Well, that's science. An object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. I'm just saying a body in motion stays in motion. A body in rest stays at rest. So if you want to live, you got to get up and walk. Wake up and walk. Come out of the state that you're in. Wake up. Somebody's shaking you now.
Yes.
Wake up and walk. That means move. Do something differently, so you'll get a different result. Again, conversation without condemnation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, this has been great. We thank y'all for going down memory lane with us as we talked about the October 15th session where we had conversationalist Kathy Robinson, the birthday queen, on this evening here. So we're going to move forward and we're going to go into the October 22nd session. The October 22nd session. So we're going to show you, remind you, hello, this was the October 22nd session. So as we're showing you this, we're going to have Takesha Hall Humphrey and Tamara Love join us to come talk about this particular session, their story, their actual stories. And this session was the feelings in the weight with conversationalist Leslie Green. So let's see who we have with us to talk about this one. We thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome in Takesha and Tamara and Apostle. We're talking about the feelings in the weight, and we're going to hear their stories. And I'll turn it over to you.
So the story is these ladies are going to navigate, and I know this mute thing is the only way we're going to successfully move through without the background is everybody has to be on mute except for the person speaking. But we are going to talk about the feelings. Y'all know the feelings. The feelings. Remember, your feelings are deceitful. Your heart is deceitful. It's not your friend. How you feel can become so real. Because if you read that book, say, feel it real. Whatever emotional conversation you have with yourself, it will manifest good, bad, and the ugly. So if you feeling bad, you're going to manifest bad. So wake up feeling good. So in our feelings, y'all know I can get in my feelings. So I'm going to see what the ladies have for us, Dr. Cruz Craig, because I know that the feelings, ladies, our feelings are deceitful. The Bible says they're deceitful. Don't trust them. So if you say you feel good, don't fool around, let somebody pull out in front of you, because you're going to find out if you really feel good or not.
All right. All right. So we're going to hear, Leslie led us in this conversation, and we talked about love languages, and we talked about self-love languages, which was really big for me. I'll talk about that later after we hear these stories here from Tamara and Takesha. And then we talked about communication and intimacy in that session as well. So it was a really good discussion, very intimate, a lot of shifts. So first I want to ask Takesha if she can share her story about the waiting room, because I know her husband joined us as well on one of the nights. So I want to hear her testimony or her story about the waiting room. All right, Takesha, you can unmute.
Hello, everyone. Yes, the waiting room definitely blessed me, blessed us. Leslie definitely blessed us. We joined in on the conversation about love language. And although we had heard about love languages and read the books before, it's nothing like having someone to coach you and teach you through it. So we greatly appreciate the waiting room. We learned a lot from that. We learned our very own love language, how to understand our love languages, as well as how to love ourselves with our love language. So that was awesome information to learn. With intimacy, we learned about just building that intimate relationship with God, which is first and foremost. You want to make sure you have a solid, intimate relationship with God. And I would definitely recommend to any single person to work on your intimacy with God first. Because when we are intimate with God, we know how to be intimate with God, and we love on God. We then know how to love ourselves. And when we learn how to love ourselves, we can love others. So that was truly, definitely a blessing for me. A couple of points that I took away from it. It was mentioned that it boils down to us and who we are, as well as what we believe is what we live. So those were some very good pointers for me and my husband, and we have been going with what we learned since that day. A scripture that I want to mention that I also took away was Luke 1:45. It says, "Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her." So the waiting room was fantastic. Man, it was so awesome. From every day was filled with information. It was so awesome. And I walked away like, my God, I just got a full session of therapy for $25. So it was just awesome. It was awesome. And I thank you all for hosting this, because it is needed. It is needed. And I am so glad that I had the opportunity to take a part in it. So thank you all so much. Thank you for the waiting room.
Thank you. We are most appreciative of you sharing your experience and bringing your husband to the waiting room once you realize, I guess, what it is. So, Tamara, we heard from you, and we want to hear from you about this particular session too, because it was important, and possibly I can come on the back end and share. So, Tamara.
Hi again. Yes, this second week was just the waiting room. And if I can just talk about the waiting room, and probably, I don't know if I mentioned it during those weeks, but God dropped the waiting room in my spirit years ago. And I was okay, well, what do I do in the waiting room? I thought it was a conference, but it turned out to be a conference. But then revelation is the waiting room. So that's why I was so on fire that I have to be in that waiting room. And you guys mentioned $25. I'm like, how can you beat that? Because what we've done in these weeks should be way more than $25. The information, the therapist, and all the revelation and all that other stuff for self was so amazing. But in that particular segment, self-love, which has taken me so many years I didn't love myself. I didn't want to deal with loving myself because I didn't think I was worthy of loving myself. I've forgotten how to love myself, with all the past traumas and all that other stuff. But now that I've found me, and then just the relationship with God, and then the spending the time with him, morning, noon, and night. I mean, and in this season and finding myself in self-love, I've been able to, just openly speak to him more, the drives with him. And when I mean wake up and walk, it's wake up and walk with me. It's just finding him in everything that I do. I'm just really thankful. Self-love, the love languages, and I'm single. So, and I did think that, okay, so love language, okay, well, I'm single. But then fall in love with yourself, and then just loving God. I love God so much. I just can't imagine my life without him. I'm thankful and grateful for everything that he's done in my life. I'm thankful for the waiting room and BGLC and all of that. I've learned so much with all of you guys on here. Self-love. Wake up and love yourself through your pain. Love yourself through the drama. Love yourself through the trauma. Love yourself in those dark places. Don't forget about you. And know when you need to take a break. Know your triggers. Know when you're tired. Know when you're sick. Know when you've given and served so much to where you can't serve no more because you're empty. That's kind of like where I'm at. And wake up is all it's all I've been saying this whole year is like, wake up. I'm like, okay, well, you're telling everybody else to wake up, Tamara. So that's where
Thank you. Thank you so much for that sharing. Thank you, Miss Love from from the what they call it, California, you know, say it doesn't rain in the Southern California. I don't know if that's true because I think I was in Southern California and it rained. But we were talking about the love languages. So Dr. Cruz Craig, I'm interested because Mr. Craig is here. I know my love language. My love language, number one, is quality time. That is my number one love language. And I have a secondary love language, which is acts of service. So quality time and acts of service, those are my love languages. And if you speak in those languages, you can be a potential person needing to get your life together. But those two love languages will make me pay attention to what you're saying quicker than anything else. But I'm interested, since Mr. Marvin is here, I'm interested to hear what you all's love languages are, because you're married. So I'm interested to mute myself out right now and just see what y'all love languages are.
Well, Apostle, what I'm going to tell you is I think we all still learning, but I can tell you what I learned, honestly, in the waiting room with my husband. We will be married 10 years next May. So we're still early in this, but we got a little in here. But what I've learned is that Marvin's, and I can talk on his love languages because I'm having to grow and learn that, because it's important, because we learned in that private session that, you know, most often people love and do things in the love languages in which they're used to or want to receive, right? So we have to shift our mindset so that we can be like, okay, well, if I like quality time and physical touch, that may not just be the thing that make them tick, right? So what I've learned with my husband, Marvin Craig, is he loves his words of affirmation. That's one of his love languages, words of affirmation. So y'all can tell him he's the best, tell him he's handsome, tell him he's all of those things, okay? Y'all can put it in the chat right now. Marvin loves words of affirmation, okay? The other thing that Marvin loves and that I've learned is gifts. Marvin loves gifts, and today is his birthday, y'all. So guess what? Towards the end, if you want to give him a cash app, we're going to show you how to do that, because that's one of his love languages, okay? So you see him laughing because it's the truth. So that's what I learned. Like, that's really my testimony as I went deeper into this session and truly understood. I understood love languages, like Takesha said, you know, been through that, understood them, but I got a little shift in my mindset, in my perspective, even on this journey. As we're in the wait for other things, I learned more to, you know, how to connect deeper with my husband through his love languages by hearing the perspective of others. So that's why I think it's important that we're always, no matter where we go with a heart of receptivity, right? We have to go into any space that God gives us the grace to enter with the open heart, ready to receive whatever it is he needs us to pick up out of that environment. So I'm glad that even though I'm co-hosting this with Apostle, we both came in here with open hearts, right? We're in this position of humility and receiving, because we know that others have things to bring to advance this kingdom. And that's what we're doing through this waiting room. All of these sessions, we're advancing the kingdom. So look, Marvin, they saying happy birthday. Y'all don't start. Look, y'all got him talking now. He ain't going to talk otherwise. I'm telling you, I know my husband. Okay, Apostle. So y'all, we thank you, Takesha and Tamara, for coming on and sharing around this section. This was a really good section. And that communication piece, Apostle, you know, we talked about that. That communication is key, even with those love languages, and learn how to communicate, not just in romantic relationships, but in all relationships. All relationships is very critical. So we're going to move to the next one. So we want to look at the flyer for October 29th. October 29th was our last session, which was loaded. It was loaded. We had therapists in the building. My. Then we talked about emotional intelligence, y'all. Woo! This one was a heavy one. And we got the mother, Mary E. Elliott, coming to talk with us about this one and share a little bit about her waiting room experience, as well as Leslie Green, who was our conversationalist from the last session, but she's going to give some of her insight about this one. So if we can get that flyer out the way, we're going to have our, hey, y'all, hey. Hey, welcome. We're excited to talk about this session. Welcome, Leslie. Welcome, Mother Mary. We're so glad y'all are joining us for this session as we talk about those emotional intelligence and mental health and trauma. So, Apostle, I'm going to throw it to you, and then we can get some stories in here and talk about this session.
Well, you already know Mother Mary Ellen is my mama. So, you know, what I've learned is emotional intelligence. That's really, 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 really important when it comes to relationships. Not just significant others, but I'm talking about when you're talking to your parents, when your parents are communicating with you, because sometimes it's not necessary. It's all the time. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Mm-hmm. And it's not always how you say it. It's why you said it, how you said it. Ooh. Because sometimes we communicate our real emotion through our verbal mannerisms. So it sounds like you're like, I asked you about the car and you was like, well, I parked the car across the street. And you think that I'm responding about the car, but it has nothing to do with the car. So emotional intelligence, when my mom comes on here, one of the things that I don't like sometimes is that my mom never remembers what I say sometimes. And so she always asks me to repeat myself. It sounds like I don't want to answer her question, but what's really happening is my concern for my mother not remembering is a bother to me because I don't want her to be lost in a place and no one's there to save her. So because I haven't really learned how to emotionally say I'm concerned about your well-being because you're not retaining things, it comes out like, why do you keep asking me the same things? You need to make a list. You need to put a calendar in your phone. You need to put a reminder on the reminder so you can remember to remember. And so by the time I'm saying all this, I got her upset because she's like, well, I just asked you one question. And I was like, but that's the same question you asked me for the last 5 weeks. So I want you to put it on the calendar so you quit asking that. But it's not so much I don't want to answer the question. It's my concern inside that generated my response. So instead of me saying, I'm really concerned about your well-being because you're not retaining, I say, why you keep asking me the same thing? You've been asking me the same thing for the last 5 weeks. And she's like, well, I just can't remember. But my whole point is, it's some of those things because you respond sharply and a person is offended and you can't fix that offense when that wasn't the intent of your heart. So I'm happy to have my mom talk about her journey. It'll be interesting. This is my first time hearing the journey, y'all. So my face might tell it. If I black my screen, it's because I don't want y'all to see my face when she say what she got to say. So, all right, I'm done.
All right. So I think listen, you just set Mother Mary Elliott up first to come up and share her experience, and then we'll let Leslie come and share her experience. So Mother Elliott, it is on you. It's all on you. Share with us what you got out of the waiting room.
Good evening to everyone. I hope you've had a lovely day without stress, trauma, or whatever is our challenges in life today. And if you had some challenges, I hope you were able to get through those quite beautifully and with the same mind. I was enjoying the waiting room from the beginning up to this point, and I still know that on the next journey in the spring that we'll have a great time for listening and learning. And I was looking at the session for October 29th, and to do a recap was the effects of trauma on relationships, I think was the subject matter. And I was able to learn that even more. I already knew that it was important for us to get our health assessments done for our emotion, for our physical, for our spiritual, and for our natural lives that we live. And I was learning about the emotional intelligence, and that is having a true sense of who you are. And down through the years, you know, if you are not aware of it, down through the years, as you age, you learn more or you learn less. And when I say learn less, is sometimes, and it's not something that's intentional, you learn less because your ability to focus is not as extreme as it was before. So therefore, I do know that in these last few weeks of the waiting room, which was not the waiting room as others have stated, as to be married or to have an engagement or any other socialization in that area, but it was a holistic waiting room experience. And that being said, the Dr. Tarver was talking about the psychology of intelligence as well. And I'm learning that having a psychologist or psychiatrist is healthy, not just learning now, but down through the years. And what I can say that while I was going through therapy in the military, I did not share any of that with my siblings or close relations. And I did not share because I was not ashamed. It was just that I did not feel like it was healthy to share because a lot of times I have input that others do not accept. So therefore, having that emotional intelligence experience of knowing truly who I am and a sense of who I am and being aware of what was needed in my life, I did not feel like that it would have been accepted. But I'm really happy to know that today in 2020 that I'm able to share the fact that I have and is going and having some mental health care. And I appreciate the military more so now than ever before because my emotional experience as was initiated while being in the military. And it was the death of my brother that was extremely traumatic that I wasn't able to deal with. And I know a lot of people might say she's always talking about her brother being dead. Well, it was very traumatic to me because he was burned to death. And having the psychology of intelligence and learning about psychology of intelligence was that I was on the outset, I basically blamed myself for this accident. And I learned that my subconscious knew the story behind why I felt that way. And it was because I had had a vision as I was returning back from Germany. And the vision was that someone in my family was going to die. And when I talked with my brother in December of 1993, we were riding along, going to pick up my car in Charleston, South Carolina, because I'd had a car shipped to Charleston, South Carolina. And on the ride, I'm trying to prepare my brother for this vision that I had had because I thought it was my death that was going to happen. And I told him about the paperwork and everything for if a military person dies, the document that you should see and what you should do. In the meantime, he just started out of nowhere saying, well, if I was to die, I would not want to burn to death. And not to make a long story, I'm going to make it short. He did die of burning to death. And because we had discussed this and it was intimate conversation that he and I had had, it took me into a very, very low place. And emotional intelligence kicked in. My emotional intelligence was that I was feeling like I was responsible. So when the signs of high emotional status was taken over, I began to have times when like my daughter said, I would be times I was so focused on the death, I could not concentrate on the now. And my now was becoming like a shadow or a cloud to me. And I wasn't able to really communicate the way I had been in the past. But as I moved on in life, I was learning some of the things that we had in the session about our self-care, our self-love. So in my psychological and psychiatric treatment, I had to learn self-love language. And in my self-love language, I found out that I was a person who liked to perform acts of service. And the other things were not a priority to me at that time. But I also learned that you have to also include some of those other things in self-love. And down through the years, even though it may have seemed meaningless to others, it was times where I was able to actually grow in serving. I was able to heal in serving. I was able to recognize my emotions in serving. I was able to slow down in parts of my life and learn that I had to digress from the pain. I had to digress from my emotions, and I had to put myself in an observatory manner down through the years from the time of the trauma and to up even until today. I learned that I am not the superwoman that I thought I was. I am a superwoman though, but I'm not the superwoman per se. I do know that there was an awakening by being in the waiting room. There was an awakening of learning how to put myself in state of mind where I have to actually organize my life, my daily living. I have to organize it so that when I do learn something new, I'm able to grow from that. And if I learn that I've done some things in my life which was not pleasant, I have to learn how to do it differently so that the love that I show will be pleasantly received and not received as just a gesture. Because sometimes we can show love and it doesn't have any premise to it, doesn't have any value to it. It's just, just showing love. And that's where I was learning where the physical touch was something that I had not experienced. The physical touch. I'm on my time, over my time. So to wrap it up, I would like to say that how do I see myself after the waiting room? I see myself where I had an awakening. I've had epiphanies down through the sessions. And I know that what you do and what you cope with and the mechanisms that you use is essential to living.
Yes, thank you, Mother Elliott. Really great insights, and thank you for sharing your testimony. It's very critical, and especially at this time, and the fact that you came out of the waiting room. And I don't know how often you've shared this testimony, but I know that people that are tuned in here need to understand it's okay to have a therapist. It's okay to see a therapist or to get the treatment that we need in our community. It is the norm, and we are having that discussion and raising that narrative and shifting that narrative. And we have to understand that genetically, we got to understand some of the stuff that's been in our generations before us in regards to the mental health and things that's going on, so that, a lot of people are suffering in silence and don't even know why they're suffering because they don't understand their genetics. They don't understand their family history. They don't understand where they came from. So Mother Elliott, I salute you and say thank you for sharing your testimony out here for the world to understand that you've been through this process. This is not new to you, but look at you now. You're still here with your right mind because you sought out and got, assistance and help to guide you through that traumatic season in your life and today. So thank you for that. Leslie, it's on you. Tell us about your waiting room experience. And I think you're on mute, Les.
Thank you for that, because I was wrapping it up on mute. But my waiting room experience has been amazing. This has been an incredible series. And I think one of the things that I love most about it is the fact that everything has come together so well. We're talking specifically about this last session, this last private session around emotional intelligence. And I have to say, speaking on the feelings and the weight and coming behind Kathy, who talked about the who you are in the weight, I think it's important to really look at how you interact with people. And I think Sybil was speaking to this as well. How you interact with people during this time really shows what your emotional intelligence is, not just in terms of what you say, but how you react to what others say. We have to realize that other people are going through the weight as well. Other people are suffering, they are hurting, and some of them really don't understand what emotional intelligence is. So I thought it was really powerful how Mrs. Jennifer Jones, broke down in the beginning of her talk around this difference between sympathy and empathy. And when you're empathetic with someone, you're in that thing with them, right? You are fully, even though you may not understand what it is to be in that specific situation,
you are feeling what they feel with them. You're not looking down on them and saying, well, I'm sorry you feel that way and we're moving on, right? You're in that thing with them. And I think that's a piece of an emotional intelligence that we really need to understand, especially as we know that all people around us are going through their own different type of weight, and knowing how to love each person in that weight. I think one of the most poignant things about that is being empathetic with them. Mrs. Jones talked about the story of her sharing with her husband about her breast cancer diagnosis, and she recalls being in this state of regret after she snapped at him. I thought one of the most powerful pieces of that story was how he reacted, not necessarily her reaction, but the fact that he had enough emotional intelligence to comfort her, even though she came back at him and in what she described as, a really mean comment that she made that she couldn't take back and that she was regretful over. Her husband chose and really had the emotional intelligence to comfort her in that time instead of snapping back at her. See, somebody who doesn't have emotional intelligence in that scenario, all of the empathy would have gone out the window, right? That the snapback is real inside of relationships. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're suffering right now is because of the lack of emotional intelligence on each part, and not having that empathy and not understanding the love language, the universal love language of being selfless and patient and kind, which is what we're called to do as believers. So those are really the most powerful things that stuck out to me in that last session. And again, as I shared, all of these things coming together, understanding who you are in the weight, how you weight, your love languages, how you feel from other people interacting with you, understanding how that dynamic works in all of our relationships, whether they're romantic or familial relationships. I think, it's just been an incredible experience being able to tie all of this together. Now you're on mute, Miss Lorraine.
And I got plugged and tagged with not coming off of mute.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives. That's one thing about the waiting room that I enjoyed, is that we had so many varied perspectives. Like, so many people shared from their lens. You got people that's single now, been married, divorced, people that's married. We have intergenerational discussion. We have Mother Elliott, and I think it's others that's been in this waiting room with us. Some that's younger that's been in the waiting room with us. So we're all bringing perspective together and talking. So I really appreciate you all lifting up those and sharing about that emotional intelligence piece. Again, I'll say, so many people don't even understand what emotional intelligence is. So many people don't understand what love languages are. So many people don't even understand what mental health is, what it looks like, what is a trigger. I know how I feel when something happened to me, but I didn't know that was called a trigger, and it does this to me, and it's a way for me to to deal with that proactively if I know what's going on. So I think, Apostle, what God has called forth for this particular assignment is to continue to share knowledge. Because knowledge is power, but we have to apply that knowledge, and we got to continue sharing that knowledge. So we thank you all for sharing your knowledge and your insights and your perspectives. Everybody from every session, we thank you for sharing, because this has been a journey, and this was a quick turnaround journey, and Apostle can talk more about that as we move on. But we thank you, Leslie. We thank you, Mother Elliott. We're going to move y'all, and we're going to move into closing this thing out because we're at time. But we got some special announcements tonight. Apostle, do you want to share with the people about the waiting room reflective journal?
Well, there's something that, I have to humbly say that Dr. Cruz Craig came on the journey, and she was like, let's collaborate. And I was like, sure. You know me. I'm like, sure, let's collaborate. Because all I know is the Lord said do it. Now, that's one thing about me. If the Lord said do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm probably not going to be concerned about it not working, because I believe if he said do it, it's going to work. And so then she said, I think we should bring along something that's going to be like sort of kind of like commemorate the journey and the experience. And I was like, okay, what is it going to be? And eventually, to last couple of days, she started sending me these emails, and I was like, God, where does her brain? And I just want to say thank you to Dr. Cruz Craig and Mr. Craig. I know that you already know, because you're a husband, so you see what the world doesn't see. And I just thank you for just supporting her and holding her arms up through this journey, because not just this, she has been anointed. The Bible talks about this, and I'm not veering off into the Bible land. I just got to say, the Bible talked about the 10 talents, the 5, and the 2. Everybody, or the 1. Everybody heard the story about the 1, what he did. But if you study that, the text said, Jesus said, occupy until I return. If you research that, he's basically saying, give him a return on his investment. He's going to give you something, and he wants a return on his investment. And he took from the one that did not do anything and gave it to the one who had the most. And this woman of God has been anointed with so many things that it almost seemed humanly impossible for her to disseminate, orchestrate, or organize and put together what God has given her. And yet she still formulates enough time to create another vision. Like, I don't know how God even gives you all that, because the little bit he gives me, I'll be over here like this, like pulling out my crochet, looking like I'm looking, but I just watch you like constantly just like reproduce. And I'm like, God, I'm over here praying for your oil, your light to continue to burn, because I know what it takes for what I do, and you do far more than I do. And I'm just like, God, let her light and her oil continue to burn. Let her fuel that keeps pushing her, whatever steaming and running her engine, let it just keep going, because there's no way that you're putting that out. Because what I know is he gives seed to the sower, and as you pour, God continues to pour. That's the other thing. Most people don't pour. That's why you can't ever get a refill. You keep pouring, so God just keeps refilling you. So this book, this journal, I said all that to introduce a journal, because I could have never come up with it. Like, it wasn't in my mind. It wasn't. There's actually a journal made available, but it's because of her pour. It has not, I don't care what we collaborated on. The one thing you'll never see me do is stand in front of people and pretend like I was a brain behind the engine. Absolutely not. I was the one that said, I heard from the Lord. She was the one that said, and this is what he gave us. So there is a journal. I just keep to 100. There is a waiting room journal for everybody that's out here trying to figure this out, and you need something to just track your feelings and emotions. Dr. Cruz Craig, I got to turn it back over to you, but I want to say thank you. And I wanted the people to know, in real life, I don't care what God dropped on me. One thing I don't do is I don't ever pretend like I just came up with this and look like I'm just shining. No, I'm not that one. If anything, God gonna say she's too honest. But the woman of God has poured, and because of your pour, we're at this place. Because of your pour, there's a journal for people to purchase and memorialize their feelings, memorialize the journey, and more or less keep this journal. So whenever we get ready for the spring edition, you got to look back and look like, what was I waiting on in the fall? Oh, I'm waiting on something totally different in the spring. So back over to you, Dr. Cruz Craig.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate you trusting me. I appreciate all of our sponsors. And for those of you that will get the waiting room journal, you're going to see that every sponsor that sows seed into this vision will continue to grow with us, because they're featured in the waiting room journal. They shared a mantra, they shared a scripture. You have their websites, you have their pictures. And so after each thing that they share within the journal, you have pages to reflect. It's called a reflective journal. We didn't do all of this for naught. Believe me, this was work. This was work that we put our hearts into, and we didn't do this for naught. This has purpose. And I would employ everyone to get the journal, continue the journey, think, capture your thoughts. For those aspiring authors, Leslie shared her story. Her book was birthed from her journal entries. So y'all get the journal, look at it, sit with it, take time for devotion and writing down and working through. If we didn't learn anything else in the waiting room, we got to deal with self. We got to look at self, and a reflective journal is a way to do that. So the link is in the comments. You can get it. It'll be shipped directly to you. You're getting it from actually the people that print it. So we're grateful for that, and we thank you. And Apostles already announced Spring 2021 waiting room. You know, we said fall edition 2020. So we got the spring edition, and we'll start on that because we learned that there was growth here. There was a need. Our community needs it. And the more people that understands what's going on, they'll come. Another thing that we're working on for those that tuned in and took this journey with us and trusted us, we're trying to find a platform to get the recordings from the private sessions together for you, for those that paid. And for those that didn't, you'll have an opportunity to pay and get them because it's so worth it. There was so much knowledge and expertise shared. There were so many people that brought forth what they carry and gave it to the people in the waiting room. Like they said, to Keisha and Tamara, $25, and I just got straight therapy with the therapist at the end. So it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing journey. And we give God all the glory for being in this here waiting room. So next, Apostle, we want you to tell the people about your event tomorrow. If we can show her event tomorrow. All right, Apostle.
All right, just come through. There is no charge. If you have a nonprofit, if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit, if you know someone with the nonprofit, there is absolutely no fee, but there is an administrative fee. They can go to contacterock.com and log in, and it's going to be dealing with nonprofits and making sure you're educated on getting grants and what it takes to help you get and sustain grants for your organization. And that's it.
Okay, well, y'all, a couple things as we close out. Please don't forget to do the post assessment, choosing BGLC as the organization. We talked a little bit about research and genetics, but know that this program, if you go to the site, you'll learn more about it. But really, it's about us understanding our family history, becoming a champion for our families, and understanding what research is to the point where we can consent to be a part of it to bring, different things to our community and learn more about ourselves. So we have a special presentation. We'll talk about BGLC and we'll go out on that. But right now we have a special presentation, Apostle, because I told y'all I have 2 birthdays. We have 2. We have Kathy Robinson. So happy birthday, Kathy Robinson. And then we have also V. Marvin Craig. So we have 2 little tributes. You see him? Yeah, he ain't did nothing the whole time. Then we doing like this. I ain't doing like that. So we have 2 presentations, really quick videos to just honor him on tonight as my king, as a man of God who has a testimony, who could have been dead and gone a long time ago. And I don't want to tell the story, and I know God will open his mouth to do it when he's ready, but just know that God has taken him through many, many things, and he has such a heart of gold. And on his birthday, which on March 9th, 2020, when they went into that skull and cut that skull with a saw and moved that skull and removed that brain and took that fluid off that brain and removed that tumor and put that brain back in there, and then had to put plates in there with a metal plate because of that skull that had to be cut. See, he didn't have to be sitting here. You hear me? But it's his birthday today, and we want to take the opportunity to just lift him up on today, because God has spared his life one more time, because he still has work for him. We know that. I believe all of us know that. He has work for him. So I just say, y'all join me in telling Marvin happy birthday, and enjoy these couple tributes and learn a little bit about him on this November the 5th that him and Kathy Robinson share for a birthday. All right, roll the video. All right.
It's your birthday. It's the day that you were born. It's the day your mama brought you home. It's a special day. Let us celebrate. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm gonna celebrate with you.
All right, y'all, we back here like we back in the Baptist church. I got my foot going under the table. We got Apostle over there rearing back. Y'all listen. So I thank y'all for joining us to tell Marvin happy birthday. And also Kathy, please tell Kathy happy birthday. That song, his mom sent him that this morning, and I tell you, he loved it. So I had to snatch it out and put it into a video. But here we go anyway as we celebrate him. Y'all, I told y'all Marvin's love language is gifts. Cash App, Marvin Craig. I'm just saying, he loves gifts. Look at him laughing. So thank you, Apostle, for allowing us to tell Marvin happy birthday on the night, as well as Kathy. Tech people, can you bring Kathy back up here on the screen with us as we close out? Kathy, happy birthday, Kathy. Yes. Oh, who keep putting the in and out, in and out, in and out? All right. Thank you, Kathy. Happy birthday to you. We love you much. Bless you, bless you, bless you. As you all go forward, as we close this out, please enjoy this video to learn more about the Black Greek Letter Consortium and the All of Us Research Program. And please, please, please go get that journal. Catch up with Apostle tomorrow. There she go on this side. Catch up with Apostle tomorrow for that lunch and learn. And please get the journal and do the post assessment. We'll see you all in spring 2021 with a friend or five. Okay? With a friend or five. And we'll be in touch. If you signed up, we'll be communicating with you because we have your email to let you know where we're going and where this waiting room thing is doing. So good night. God bless you and enjoy the video.